everyone, this is Jenny's Fashion Channel. Thanks to all my amazing fans and subscribers. This channel is all about leveling up on your fashion designing skills. And today, I'm going to teach you how to cut A-line skirts. So if it is what you are all about, you are definitely at the right place. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, now will be a very good time for you to smash on the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. Without further ado, let's jump right in, shall we? The first thing is to draw a line as my baseline, which will also serve as my waistline. Then I'm going to take my vertical measurement. I'm going to come down by 9 inches for my hip line, okay? Then for the knee line, my knee line is on 21 inches. But I'm going to go up by 3 inches, okay? That is where the flare will start to avoid movement constraint and for it to flow well. So I'm going to mark 18 inches. Then for the full skirt length, I will go down by 39 inches. I will mark and I'm going to draw the lines. Then I'm going to take my horizontal measurement. For the hip measurement, the hip measurement I am working with is hip 40, okay? So I'm supposed to have 20 inches for the back and 20 inches for the front. But I'm not going to allocate it that way because of the birth, okay? So I'm going to remove 1 inch from the front panel and put it to the back panel, okay? So that 20 inches for the front panel, I'm going to remove 1 inch from it, okay? So when I get to the back part, I'm going to add down 1 inch to 20 inches for the back. Are we on the same page? So what I have to work with is 19 inches, okay, for the front panel. So I'm going to divide it by 2. It will give me 9.5 inches. I will mark it, and I'm going to mark the same thing on the waistline, on the knee line, and the full skirt length line. Then I'm going to connect with a straight ruler like so. Then from the hip line, I'm going to go up by 1 inch and go down by 1 inch, okay? This is to make sure that we don't have any sharp edge on the hip area and to get that perfect curve we need for the hip, okay? Then on the knee line, I'm going to go up by 1/2 inch and go down by 1/2 inch, okay? To remove any sharp edge there and to get a perfect curve for the skirts. Then for the waistline, I'm going to take my waist measurement divided by 4, and the waist measurement I am working with is 32 inches. If it is being divided by 4, it will give me 8 inches, so I'm going to mark it. Then I'm going to connect it to the first 1 inch I went up with from the hip line. Then I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect the 1 inch up to the 1 inch down to get that perfect hip curve. Then for the knee line, I'm going to remove 1.5 inches from the hip line. That's from those points, I'm going to go in by 1.5 inches, okay? You can use 2 inches, but I think that 1.5 inches is perfect for a line. If it is a kind of man-made skirt, okay, you can go in by 2 inches upwards, okay? Then I'm going to mark it on the knee line, mark the same thing on that 1/2 inch I went up with from the knee line, and that 1/2 inch I went down with from the heel line. Then I'm going to connect this 1 inch I went down with from the hip line to the first 1/2 inch I went up with from the knee line. Are we there? Then for the full skirt length, I'm going to add 6 inches, okay, for the A-line shape, okay? So I'm going to add 6 inches. You can do below that, you can do beyond that, but I think this is perfect. Then I'm going to connect it to the 1/2 inch I went down with from the knee line. Then I'm going to use my curve ruler to blend this 1/2 inch up to the 1/2 inch down to get that perfect curve. And I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches from those points, okay? This is to remove that sharpness or pointiness on that edge. Then I'm going to connect it to the hip line, like so. Then from those points, I'm going to go down by 0.75 inch and go up from this point by 0.25 inch. This is so perfect if you are making a corset gown or bustier gown. But if you are making a skirt, just skirt, you are going to go down by 1 inch. Then I'm going to connect like so. So guys, that's how it. I'm not going to put that, okay, on this my skirt, though it is purely optional. If it works for you, you can go ahead and put your dart. Then I will go ahead and put my allowances, okay. On the down part, I'm going to add 1.5 inches for hemming allowance, okay. On the side part, I'm going to add 1 inch for seam allowance. On the upper part, I'm going to add 1/2 inch for joining allowance because I'm going to join this skirt to the top, okay. What I'm making is gown, okay. Then I'll go ahead and connect my markings. So guys, that's aside. If my pattern paper was on fold, this will come out full, okay? You can see how pretty it looks already. We'll now go ahead and cut. So follow me closely. Let's cut. So guys, that's aside. You can see how perfect it came out. We'll now move over to the back panel. Then the first thing is to draw a line as my baseline. Then I'm going to take out 2 inches here, okay? For the butt allocation and for my zipper, I will mark and I'm going to draw a vertical line. Then I'm going to take my vertical measurement. I will come down by 9 inches for the hip line. And for the knee line, okay, just like I explained, my knee line is on 21 inches, but I'm going to go up by 3 inches from the knee line to avoid movement constraint. So I'm going to mark it on 18 inches. Then for the full skirt length, I will come down by 39 inches. I will mark and I'm going to draw the lines. Then for the hip measurement, I am working with is 40 inches, okay? That's 20 inches for the front part and 20 inches for the back part. But remember that we'll remove 1 inch from the front part hip line, okay? So that's 1 inch we remove from the front part hip measurement. We are going to add it to the back part hip measurement. That's 20 inches for the back part hip measurement plus 1 inch we remove from the front part. It will give us 21 inches, okay? So the hip measurement I am working with for the back panel is 21 inches. 21 inches divided by 2 will give us 10.5 inches. But I'm not going to mark 10.5 inches here because of the bolt. I'm going to remove 1/2 inch from that 10.5 inches and allocate it to the bolt, okay? To give our butt a nice fitting and to accommodate the butt properly, okay? So I'm going to mark 10 inches, okay, on the hip line. And mark the same 10 inches on the waistline and the same thing on the knee line and the full skirt length line. Then I'm going to connect my marking with a straight ruler, like so. Then from this hip line, I'm going to go up by 1 inch and go down by 1 inch, just the same way we did on the front part of the dress to give the hip a perfect curve. Then on the knee line, I'm going to go up by 1/2 inch and go down by 1/2 inch so we can get a perfect curve for the dress. Then for the butt allocation, I'm going to add that 1/2 inch I removed from the hip measurement, okay? You know, we are supposed to mark 10.5 inches, okay, on the hip line, but we remove half an inch. So that half an inch we remove there, I'm going to allocate it to the butt, okay? But if the difference between your waist measurement and your hip measurement is beyond 10 inches, that's if your hip measurement is like 45 and your waist measurement is like 33, okay, that's the difference is about 12 inches, okay. You are going to remove 1 inch from the hip measurement and allocate it to the butt, okay. Then I'm going to mark that half an inch on the hip line and mark the same half an inch on that 1 inch we went up with from the hip line, and the same half an inch on that 1 inch we went down from the hip line. Then I'm going to connect the waistline to the first 1 inch we went up with from the hip line. Are we clear? Then I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect the 1 inch down to the 1 inch up, okay, on the same measurement point. Then from those my hip line, I'm going to come down by 5 inches. Trust me guys, this works for all shapes, okay? It will give your butt a perfect shape, okay? And it will give you that allowance, okay, to sit without struggle. Then I will connect that 1 inch I went down with from the hip line to it like so. Then on the waistline, I'm going to take my waist measurement divided by 4. I will mark it on the waistline. Then I'm going to connect it to the first 1 inch I went up with from the hip line like so. Then I will use my curve ruler to blend those points like so. On the knee line, I'm going to remove 1.5 inches from the hip measurement. That's I'm going to go in by 1.5 inches. I will mark it on the knee line, mark the same thing on that half an inch I went up with and that half an inch I went down with from the knee line. Then I'm going to connect that 1 inch I went down with from the hip line to the first half an inch I went up with from the knee line. On the full skirt length, I'm going to add 6 inches, just the same way we did on the front part of the dress. Then I'm going to connect it to that half an inch I went down with from the knee line. Then I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect the half an inch up to the half an inch down to get a perfect curve. Then from those points, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches. This is purely optional, okay? Then I will connect it to the hip line like so. Then on this my waistline, I'm going to go in by half an inch. This is to remove any form of bulginess on the waist area. I will mark it and I'm going to connect it to the butt curve like so. Then I will go ahead and add my zipper allowance, and I'm using 1 inch. You can use 1.5 inches. It is not cast in stone. Then I'm going to start taking my zipper allowance from this half an inch I went in with on the waist area. Then I'm going to carry on, okay, like so, following the same curve. Then I'm going to connect my markings. Then on the side, I'm going to add 1 inch for seam allowance, okay? I will mark and I'm going to connect my markings. On the down part, I'm going to add 1.5 inches for the hemming allowance. I will mark and I'm going to connect my markings. Then on the upper part, I'm going to add just half an inch for joining allowance, okay? I will mark and I'm going to connect my markings. So guys, that's it. You can see how perfect it came out. We'll now go ahead and cut. So let's cut. So guys, this is it. You can see how beautiful it looks, okay? And this is all I have for you for today. If you found this tutorial helpful, please subscribe, comment, like, and share. See you in my next video. Bye.